good. Okay. What's up, guys? We're back at it again with another episode of the What's Bothering You Today podcast. And in this podcast, if you haven't been following us or you haven't subscribed yet, we talk about, what's bothering us today. And we don't do it on like some complaining type stuff. It's just like different things bother different people. And if it's bothering you, it might be bothering me. It might be bothering the guy down the street. You know what I'm saying? So, and today I have a good friend of mine, a special guest of mine. We met. How long has it been now?
I want to say 5 years.
About 5 years.
Yeah, about 5 years.
It's crazy how time just flies.
I know.
And I should have asked you which name you want to go with, because I know you have a name, but you also have a name that you tell people. So you introduce yourself.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kamisha Whitaker Moore. I usually go by Kim at work, but this is family, so my name is Kamisha. We, like you said, we met about 5 years ago at a workplace, and from then we kind of grew a whole family ship, because he's definitely more than a friend. He's definitely my family.
Yes, and I'm so excited. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you just got off work and all that stuff. Fun stuff. But fun stuff. So we're gonna jump right into it.
Okay.
Kim, what's bothering you today?
Oh, okay. Let's talk about relationships. Marriage is hard, okay? Marriage is hard.
Yeah.
Or marriage be hard, okay?
Marriage be hard.
Yes.
Like, man, because I am married.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we just had 5 years. We just hit 5 years last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And what people didn't really tell me, or what really wasn't present at the time, was how tough it is, how much work goes into it.
Yeah.
I always thought that it was just this fairy tale, like that it was just, you just gonna get married and everything was gonna be hunky-dory.
Amen.
And you just gonna go
Yes.
to the end of time, have kids, whatever. But it's not.
No.
It's a lot more to it than that.
It is. It's a lot of hard work. I think that when I was thinking about marriage, I was a single mom, 3 children. And all of my family, my cousins, they were in marriages and they seemed to be super happy. I mean, I'm talking about vacations, all of this. And I'm like, oh, I want that life, and then I'm watching them. And then at that point, I'm like, I really want to be married, because you think it is a fairy tale. And so when I got married, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I'm not saying anything bad, but I'm just saying it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I was a single mom. My children were preteen. And honestly, I was the sole decision maker, the breadwinner in my family. I made all decisions concerning me and my children. But when you're married, that is the first thing that you have to do. There's compromising. Ooh. And that is a hard thing for me, because I'm the one who says yes and no. But then I have to talk to somebody else to get their permission, or to say, hey, let's think about doing it this way. And I'm like, because if I want to say yes and you're saying I don't think we should, then that's a whole other issue. A whole other issue, okay? We're talking about.
Yeah.
So it is not a fairy tale. I mean, I remember like my grandparents, my mom's parents, we loved our grandparents, but honestly, their marriage was not ideal. We had my grandfather sleeping on the left side of the house and my grandma sleeping on the right side of the house. And so there was a lot of things that kind of contributed to that situation. And we were little before. I mean, this was a norm for us because we were born into this situation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
This was already going on before us. And so that was a normal situation for me. And then I'm looking at my father's parents and my grandfather. He was sickly. My grandmother was a strong grandma. She was a strong woman. They had multiple children. And all I saw was, or I thought what I saw was, a lot of love and a lot of caring and taking care of us and the children and everything. And I thought this is what marriage was.
Right.
Not until I got older. I really realized that there were so many things that had already happened. But, my grandmother decided to, or chose to, forgive and let things go.
Right.
And so I'm looking at them, and so I'm like, okay, do I have a good example of marriage? What it is? And I want to be married. So, then my parents, of course, You know, they were married for 20, maybe 23 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm joking, but not. They were like, I don't know, they were happy for a while. And then it just like, they were not anymore. And so I feel like we were accustomed to all of the fussing, the fighting, the bickering and everything. That became normal to us. And so in a relationship or trying to be married and different things like that, that's a normal behavior for us. It's normal to watch our parents fuss and argue all the time. So of course, you make me mad. Guess what? We fussing.
Right.
We're arguing about it. So, and then you have to learn a whole different way to communicate with your partner.
Communication.
Yes, it is definitely key for sure. And so that was one of the hardest things for me. You know, marriage is definitely hard. You are definitely working constantly all the time to better your marriage.
Right.
If you want to.
If you want to. That's
you
important.
Want to. Yes, it is definitely important. So marriage be hard. I'm telling you, there's days to where it's just like,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And there's days it's like, oh.
Yeah.
But you just really got to figure out, you know, what is it that you want?
Right.
You know? And
That's
then
That's it.
when you figure out what you want, then I feel like effective communication is so key to a lasting relationship. Because if you don't have communication, I mean, it's done. Y'all are living together. Y'all are basically roommates.
That's it. Because I think that's the thing that I struggle with the most when we first got together was communication. I'm the type that shuts down. And it's not really ever good.
Right.
Because like I would shut down a lot. And then if I'm shutting down and the other my partner wants to communicate, we're not getting anywhere. It's just like, you know, it's festering essentially. There's no resolution coming along.
Right.
So how are we fixing things? How are we progressing? How are we, you know, improving the relationship if I'm just shutting down? So that was one thing that I had to learn was effective communication.
Absolutely.
It was tough.
What?
I'm still not there.
And it's still tough.
It's still tough.
Absolutely. So I allow myself grace. I really do. Because honestly, being a kid that saw arguing all the time to where it became a normal situation for me, that was my first go-to. You know what I mean? My first go-to was to argue. I'm going to tell you. Another one was to hit. That was me because I'm like, I'm sick of all this talking. Let's just go do what we need to do. But yet and still, you know, that is not the right attitude or not how you're supposed to go into a marriage. And honestly, it took me a minute. I saw myself, if that makes sense, arguing and fussing and just like, I don't like that person. I don't like who she is. I don't like the way she's going about it because honestly, what you show or what you do around your child or children becomes a natural thing for them. Where you are in a relationship or in a home where your parents never argued or in front of you or whatever, you know, you don't pick up on that. You know, you just say, well, they always talk and there's never any bad communication. Yes, there is. I mean, yes, marriage is hard work. There is, but it's not in front of you.
Right.
Ours was out there. It was in front of us. So that became a natural thing for me. And I refused to show my children that side. I didn't want my kids to think that this was natural or this was something that was common. And I have 2 boys. I did not want them to see that. I didn't want them to be that person or if they had girlfriends or end up being married. You know, marriage is definitely hard, but you don't have to bring this to the table.
Right.
You can do something totally different.
Right.
And so that's me, or that's how I wanted to show my children. Was it hard work? Yes, sir. Very hard work. Was it like some days you just, yes, it was. But you have to make a choice. We're going to battle it out today or we're going to talk about it?
Right. I like how you said that though, like you aim to show your kids something different because a lot of people don't realize that the things that, you know, you saw when you were growing up, it's kind of like unconscious to you now.
Yeah.
Like it's like little quirks that you have and you kind of like, I know me and my wife is, I think what she told me is one of the reasons why she has a hard time showing affection is because her mom and her grandma didn't really show PDA, public displays of affection.
Right.
They're affectionate people. They just don't generally show it in those ways that you just visually see it all the time. Of course, they gifts and all that different type of stuff. Other than that, like kissing and hugging and all the stuff. But from my side, my parents did show PDA and a lot, so it's just, that's what me and my siblings saw. So that's what I do.
Gotcha.
So it when we came together, it was weird because she was like, "Get off me," you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I'm a hugger when it comes to her,
right?
Or I'm always trying, like one of my love languages is physical touch. So I'm always trying to touch her in some type of way,
right?
But she is like, "It's hot, get away from me," you know what I'm saying?
I totally
like,
get that.
so
I totally get that.
It's so cool how how your upbringing is like it's unconscious to you at a certain point,
right?
So it's, and you kind of bring that into the relationship,
yes.
And like you said, with the compromising and the when you get up some days, it's like it's tough some days. There was like this discussion on Facebook talking about do you believe in 50-50? Well, after a little bit of thought, it was just like, there is no such thing as 50-50.
No.
There's no such thing as really 100-100. Because someday, like, I'm going to be out of it.
Right.
And I'm only going to be able to give 20-30%.
Right.
Well, then that's for your partner to fill in that gap.
Absolutely.
If y'all in a good, healthy relationship,
right,
there's that as well.
Amen.
So,
because if you have a partner and you're down and you're only giving 20 and y'all are not even remotely on the same page, he's giving 20, you're giving 20. Y'all ain't getting that nowhere. Okay, we just might as well just hang it up. But it's crazy because you were talking about like your wife and how she is not a physical touch type person and how you are. See, in my home, my mom was that person. My mother, before you went to bed every night, there was kisses and there was hugs. And whenever we went to the store, there was holding of the hands. There was always hugs. My mom showed that every single day. I know she did every single day with all of us. My dad was more so the disciplinarian. Honestly, I'm being honest. I feel like I was an adult when my father told me that he loved me. I knew that my dad loved me because he took care of us. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. So my dad's love language is, it's not physical touch or like, I love you. It's providing for us. That's how he shows his love. And that's, even to this day, my dad is 72 years old, 72 years young. And he tells us, well, I love you. And, now he does. Yeah. Because back in the day, there was nothing. And the only reason why, we knew that he loved us is because, number one, he would definitely take care of all of us. We hold on. We grew up Kojic, y'all, okay? I don't even know if y'all even know what that is. But we wore dresses every day. We had dresses every day. We couldn't cut our hair. We couldn't wear makeup. So, and with that, my dad provided, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad provided everything for us. And even though he was the only one working, we had the best of everything. Do you remember Kohans? Kohans, the shoes, all of that. We had all of those things. We didn't want for anything. And so my dad provided that. And so therefore, that's how he showed us that he loved us. Right. My mom was more so the opposite. And so whenever you would get in trouble from my father, because the way he looked, you already knew you were going to get your little butt tagged. Look, yeah. Yes. And then at that moment, he would tell us, he said, I'm spanking you because I care about you. There was never like, I love you, but I care about you. Yeah. And I want you to do the right thing. But we all knew that my father loved us. We got the hugs and the kisses and all of that from our mother. We got the disciplinarian side, the working at 16. We got all that from my father. So I will say we had both, and we functioned. We did well, and so we didn't miss anything. But like I said, my father, when I was an adult, that's when he told us that he loved us. Because I feel like I told him first. I was like, Daddy, I love you. And he was like, love you more. And I'm like, I don't think you've ever told me that you love me. He said, yes, I have. I said, no. But he tells us this all the time. As he's gotten older, he's gotten a little bit softer. And so that's another thing, as parents, we watch our parents.
Yeah,
and
we
so when we watch our parents, and I'm telling you, a model our marriage is after our parents. We watch what they've done in their marriages. And honestly, if you're a person that says, I want my marriage to be different than my parents, then you're going to try something different. And if you are a person that says, you know what, my daddy did it and I'm going to do it, or my mama did it and I'm going to do it. And so, and this is what we do. I was that girl. Well, my mama did it, my daddy did it, and I'm going to do it. And, and even with like being married to my husband when we first got married, and there was a whole issue. And me, I'm like, this is messed up. And I'm like, I'm waiting on you to get it done because I want you to get it done right then. He's more like, all right, I got it. I said, you know what? Let me call my daddy. And so I did that a couple times in the beginning. And he was like, I'm not your daddy. I'm like, you sure right, brother.
You sure right.
You're not my daddy. So, but all of those things, trying to make a marriage work, trying to have communication, it is a hard situation, especially when, number one, what you've seen, what you've been brought up with. Number two, you used to being the breadwinner in your home. And then someone comes in to an already made situation, and then you're having to talk. And then number three, you've been married for a while, and you don't see eye to eye. You know what I mean? Marriage is hard. Somebody has to compromise.
Somebody has to compromise. And then sometimes you have to refocus your focus on what it is that's important to you and your husband. There you go.
Because if not, then you guys are just kind of growing apart instead of growing together. So I'm telling you, marriage is hard.
It is. And so for me, in my situation, my wife was the first ever relationship I was ever in. So I had to completely learn how to be in a relationship. Yeah. Completely outright. And one of the things that, is hitting me, it hit me a few years ago, but, we've been in it for 7 years, almost 8 years. We've known each other for 7 to 8 years, married for 5, is that in a relationship, each person is continuously growing. So like, if that person is continuously growing, that's a totally different person that you got to learn.
Yes.
So it's like you never stop learning your partner.
No.
And that, I don't think, man, it's so tough because like you get that person, you get them to go on a date, you get them to like you, and y'all agree to start going together or whatever, and you're like, I got them now,
right?
But then you're like,
but do you?
Some people, exactly, but do you?
Yeah.
Because some people grow complacent, like I got her, I don't got to do anything else now.
Absolutely,
I don't have to better myself, I don't have to improve myself, I don't have to communicate. I got her now. You know what I'm saying? But that person is continuously growing,
right?
Like my wife is a totally different person today than she was when we first met.
Right.
So she needs different things. I need to talk to her differently. She has new likes and desires or different things like that. So it's like, it's tough.
It is. It's very tough. It is very tough because honestly, like you said, and piggybacking off of that, you're absolutely right. We grow. And as we get older, the more years in a marriage, we're constantly growing, we're constantly evolving, and we change. Me and my husband, we've been married. We've been married 8 years. It'll be 9 in July. And the girl that married him 8 years ago is not the girl today.
There you go.
She's not the girl today. And the crazy part about that whole situation is I feel like I'm much stronger. I am definitely strong-willed for sure. But I feel like I have learned to compromise. I have learned to try to communicate. And another thing that I say, and I mean this wholeheartedly, and there is no digs at anybody that does this. Don't have a problem with me today and then bring it up to me 3 days later. I am done. You have all the opportunity in the world to discuss what's wrong with you right then. Because if I'm paying attention to my mate, I can look at your face, your body language and everything and say, hey, what's wrong with you? Man. And if you tell me nothing and I asked you 3 times and you say nothing, keep that. Keep it. Don't come to me 3 days later and bring that and you want to discuss it because you know what? I've forgotten about it. I've moved on. That's like a child. My grandson, he is 3. If he does something today, I'm not going to spank him 3 days from now.
Exactly.
He's forgotten about it.
Exactly.
It is the same thing. Bring it to me when it happens. Bring it to me in real time because honestly, I can fix it or we can fix it. Don't bring it to me 3 days later because I've forgotten about it and now I'm irritated.
Right.
Because you held on to this mess for 3 days and we could have resolved all this the day that it happened.
Right.
So I know for me, I try really hard. And here lately, seriously, I try really hard to let my intentions and my feelings be known. Because if not, it's like the blind leading the blind around here. Nobody's talking. Nobody's saying anything. And honestly, we're setting out unrealistic expectations for people.
There you go.
Prime example. My husband says, let's go out on a date. I'm like, hey, I'm good with that. We can do it, right?
Yeah,
we can do it. So he comes home. He gets dressed. There was something I had to do. So I'm kind of running a little bit behind. And so he never says where he wants to go. He didn't say anything. He just says, hey, you can decide. I'm like, okay, fine. Me, I like to go to Applebee's after 9 or at 9 because I love the appetizers and the mango peach tea. And I'm fine with that. I don't need a lot. And so I'm like, hey, let's just go to Applebee's. And he was like, well, I wasn't planning on going to Applebee's. I was planning on going and doing something totally different. You didn't communicate that with me. How was I supposed to know that? My thing is, tell me, if you're telling me that, hey, let's go out on a date, and I say, well, you pick. And then he says, you pick. And I'm like, okay, that's not even effective communication because I pick somewhere and then you tell me, I didn't want to go there.
Right.
So you have to let me know what your intentions are. You have to tell me what it is that you want to do so that I'm on board with you. Right. I can't read your mind. Right. And I cannot go in there and do all of this to figure out, well, he don't want to go here. He don't want to go. Just talk to me. Because honestly, I feel like just communicating is a whole lot better than trying to guess at what it is that we want to do. Because you'll never get it right. Never get it right. I'm at Applebee's eating the chicken wonton tacos. You over here somewhere else thinking you want to go eat a steak. All you gotta do is tell me what you want. So that's another part. That's another thing about relationships, about marriages. If we're not on the same page, we're off the cord. We're not one accord. Right. We have to be there. Right. And you have to stay there because honestly, if you see me falling, bring me back.
Exactly.
That's the part of communicating.
Yeah.
That we have to really, really do. Because honestly, there is no way in the world I'm going to sit up there and let you fall all the way down and then just leave you there. Right. As a mate? No. We can't do that.
Man.
So it's hard.
I love that. I really feel like, because I like how you said that you can look at your husband and tell when something's off, you know? Because my wife can do the same thing. And sometimes I'm like, okay, something will happen, right? And I'm like, I just need some time to get over this, to, you know, to power through it, you know, because it's really not anything that big of a deal, but I just need to work through it, process it. But I don't want to talk about it right now, or I don't want her to even know that made me upset. But it's like, apparently the way I move changes unconsciously. And she's able to pick up on that. And she's like, what's wrong with you? And then I'm like, I don't want to say nothing because that would be a lie, but I don't want it to be a big thing. Right. But it's so incredible to me that she's able to pick up on like little bitty shifts and changes in my vibe, the way I move and the way I'm acting, my facial expressions. And I just feel like women are just so much better at that than men in most cases.
Women are built different. We're wired totally different. And this is a known fact for sure. We are wired totally different. If I love you, I love everything about you, even the bad things that we can definitely work on. So I pay attention to what I love. Like, I have a friend, they love flowers. He pays attention to how they grow, what they do, what they like. So if you love something, you pay attention to that. You notice all of the little ums and the hms and the facial expressions. You notice that because I'm like in tune. Hey, I got you. Because that's where we're supposed to be. And when you find yourself not like that and you walking around here a whole 30 days and your face still looks the same and I haven't picked up on anything that's wrong with you, something's wrong with our relationship.
That's true.
Something is definitely wrong with our relationship. If I'm mad at you and I refuse to cook and I hadn't cooked in 30 days and them dishes been sitting in that sink and you hadn't even paid any attention to anything, something is definitely wrong with you.
There you go.
Because you're not in tune with me like you're supposed to be as a partner. You can't do it that way. You have to pay attention to the things that you care about and the things that you love. People care about their cars. People care about their dogs. People care about their cats. And I promise you, they're going to know when something is off and they're going to try to fix it. That's the same thing in a relationship. That's why marriage is hard because people not paying attention out here in these streets. We're just out here doing whatever we want to because it's like, oh, you get on my nerves. You make me sick. And true enough, you do. But yet and still, I still love you.
Right.
And I still have to pay attention to you.
Exactly.
And I still have to make sure that you're okay and we're okay.
Yeah.
It is a hot mess of a situation, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I know me, her more so than me. She'll say in a minute that I get on her nerves. Shoot, she get on my nerves too, but we still love each other.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure she's probably the person that gets on my nerves the most in this world. But I wouldn't want to do life with anybody else.
I understand that. Absolutely.
Because, like you said, like paying attention to detail, really. Paying attention to detail. I've been trying to just pay attention to the things that she likes, the things that she wants. If she gets her nails done, to just point it out, you know, or if she does something different, you know, with some lashes or hair or different things like that, point it out. Because like even just point it out shows that, you know, you're paying attention.
Absolutely. And that she's the center of your attention because you're watching everything and you're complimenting her on those things. And I'm telling you, another part to me with marriage and why it's so hard. You ever seen a person or know a person that is so self-centered, somewhat conceited? And as women, we want to be our husband's center of attention. Guys want to be the center of attention as well. And we allow that. Everybody's going to be the center of attention in a really good marriage. You know, I'm paying attention to you. You're paying attention to me. You're complimenting me. I'm complimenting you. We compliment each other. But whenever you have a relationship where the guy is solely the center of attention and your wife is a nothing or nobody, we got a problem.
Yeah.
We have a problem. Yeah. You can't steal the whole show, brother.
Right.
You got to give her a little bit, you know, because honestly, this is why some women are just like, forget that. This is just way too much. We want to be your center of attention sometimes. We don't have to be all the time, but just sometimes.
Right.
Just pay attention to us, just like we want to pay attention. We want you to pay attention to us. You want us to pay attention to you.
Right.
Guys love the fact that, you know, hey, you smell good today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They want to blush with their little dark selves.
Oh, you know
what
it.
I mean?
That's my favorite compliment.
Yeah, that part. And then it's like, oh, you look so nice. And then, well, thank you.
Yeah.
This is something that guys, they want it. I don't care if the guy says, I don't have to have it. Yes, you do. Because you look good to you, so you want to look good to somebody else. And who better to tell you that you look good and smell good than your wife?
Exactly. It's a confidence booster.
It is. It is. My grandfather used to say all the time, I look good and I smell good. You know, all the time. He boosts himself. And my grandma was right there by him. And she was boosting his ego too. But it's just, you know, marriage is definitely hard. And to be perfectly honest with you, in this day and age, I'm 47 years old. It is hard out here in these streets because everybody is so like, they're doing what they want to do, not what they need to do. We're not focusing on relationships. We're focusing on thingships. What can you do for me? What do you have over here? You want to lay up on my couch, eat up my kids' cereal and their chips and drink their juice. You're not focused in on a meaningful relationship. And then when you get married to somebody, it's all about convenience. Marriage, it's not going to be a convenience every single day.
Not every single day.
No, it's not. You're gonna have arguments. You're gonna disagree to agree. All these things. We're not going to see eye to eye every single day. That does not mean I got to put my hands on you, and that doesn't mean you have to put your hands on me. That doesn't even mean we got to raise our voice.
Exactly.
We can just say, hey, we're going to agree to disagree.
Right.
I feel this way, you feel that way, and that's fine. My pastor always tells us this. If you're upset and you need to move away, go get some ice cream and cool off, and then come back to the conversation. I don't want to continue to argue with you. If I say time out, I've had enough, that means time out, I've had enough. I can't continue to go along and continue to argue this with you because I'm about to say something I don't want to say.
Right. Can't take it back.
You cannot. You cannot take that back. So I need time to process all of this that you're yelling in my ear, screaming in my face, or whatever the case may be. Let me just chill out because I feel something coming over me. Okay? Let's move it. Let's take it back a couple steps. Just a little bit. And so I'm serious. If I say enough is enough for now, let's pick this back up. That's fine. We don't go to bed angry. We're not supposed to. That's what the Bible says.
Right.
But we do. But yet and still, just give me some time to process what we got going on.
Process it.
And then let me come back with a reply. Because if I come with a reply right now, guess what? I'm going to say something that I really mean, but it's going to be in a harsh way. Or I'm going to say something that I don't mean because I'm mad and I'm hurt. I'm going to hurt you. And hurt people.
Hurt people.
And so just imagine a rock and a hammer. You continue to beat that rock with that hammer. What's going to happen? It's going to crumble. Will glue or tape put every last one of them pieces back together?
Even if it does, it's still going to have
gaps. So therefore, watch what you say. If you need a timeout, take it because you can't put them words back in your mouth.
Right.
You cannot take those words and put them back in your head because when it's out there in the atmosphere, it is gone. And you never know what your words can do to somebody. You never know. Absolutely. I can say something and be super mean. And my husband can go out and do something to himself. I'm not saying he is, because he's not that type of guy.
Right.
But I'm just saying words are so powerful.
Power of life and death is in the tongue.
It is. And this is why, if I'm saying time out, please give me a time out. I don't want to hurt you.
Right.
Not on purpose. I don't want to say mean things to you. I don't want to, because I know that we're upset, but yet and still, I want to be nice.
Right.
Or I want to say things in a nice manner.
Right.
So therefore, to me, marriage is hard.
Yeah.
Because do you know how fly I can be? Seriously, do you know how fly we all can be with one another? No. Give me a break. I can't.
It's balance.
It
really is balance. Like, there's so much to balance.
It is.
And that's one of my things. My wife, she can definitely fly off. You know, she can.
Most
she
women
can. She can say some stuff, and sometimes it'll hurt. Yeah. But she's gotten so much better as time has gone on. Yeah. She's gotten so much better. One of the things she'll always say is, "I didn't say everything I could have said. I didn't say everything that was in my head."
Wait, I'm gonna have to use that one. I love it. I love that. I'm gonna have to use that for sure.
She's something else. But it's kind of like what you were saying earlier. Like I just kept thinking balance. Like there's so much balance, and man, like that's just the word that's resonating with me right now. In relationship, it's balance. Like sometimes you got to step in. Sometimes the other person has to step in. Sometimes we got to step in together to meet in the middle to make things work. And compromising, like people, when we first started, going together and everything, I still live with my parents, and that's something else that a lot of people got to kind of figure out.
Right.
Like, I live with my parents,
right,
and my wife still gave me a chance. And it's crazy. Like you got to think about people where they are currently, like different situations. Like, you don't know why they're still there. And in all honesty, living with your parents for a while is kind of smart.
Yeah.
You can build up funds and stuff. Like, I was stacking.
There you go.
I was.
And still doing what you wanted to do. There you go.
Exactly. But like, it's just a whole lot of balance. It really is. Like there's so much to it that you just don't really realize until you get into it and you kind of experiencing it. When we first started going together, one of the things that we had to get used to was she had her own place, right? And I came in and invaded that space, and she had certain ways that she wanted things done. And I interrupted a lot of that. I had certain ways that I wanted stuff done. She interrupted a lot of that. So we had to compromise because those little things caused some arguments. And it wasn't even over anything.
No.
It was like, I don't always put my clothes in the laundry immediately.
You little nasty.
Yeah, exactly. Or it was something like, it was something to do with socks or something. And it was just like, over time, it was just like, we realized that, that's not even that big of a deal.
No.
Or, Anthony, just go ahead and put your stuff in the laundry. That's what she likes. Or, this is what Anthony likes. Let me just go ahead and do that. It's just little things that you just got to compromise on. And I know we always talk about, you shouldn't shack up and all that stuff. But I think that it's a good experience before you get married to kind of live with somebody some type of way.
Right.
Because like, if that's your first experience of living with the person, is being married, you might find out some things that you can't compromise on.
I totally get that. I totally understand that. But I ain't gonna do that. But I'm gonna tell you what happened though. So I totally understand that. And you're right. You really don't know a person. You really don't know who they are. You think that you do, but you really don't.
Exactly.
And then when you get married and then you move in with one another and your mind is blown because I'm like, wait a minute, who are you?
Exactly.
Who are you? What is going on around here? Because you're absolutely right. You like things done a certain way, especially if you're in the older crowd getting married.
My wife.
I'm telling you. But the thing about it is the little small arguments is so petty.
So petty.
It is so petty, but it can destroy a whole
It really
marriage.
can.
It is so petty. I remember working in the ER when I was young, and I had my son. And so they were telling me all kind of things about, he didn't pass his hearing test and, he's deaf and all these other things. And so I'm just like, what? My mind was just kind of blown. And so an ER physician told me this one thing because I was working there. They were giving me a referral to take him to Little Rock. And he says, Kim, don't sweat the small stuff. He said, because if you sweat the small stuff, we're missing the bigger things. He said, if he is deaf, he can still learn. He's healthy. He's alive. It's not going to hinder anything. He won't be able to hear. He will be accustomed to that. Well, he wasn't deaf. He was just fat and lazy, or the equipment wasn't right. But I remember that. And that was 23 years ago. Don't sweat the small stuff. And I have to tell myself that all the time. Don't sweat the small stuff. Because I can pick until I can pick that thing apart. I'm telling you, you don't wash the dishes right. How you clean this kitchen with the floor? It's still nasty. Why is there food in the sink here and you just wash the dishes? Do you want to argue about that? Or do you just want to go clean it up? I'll just go clean it up. And then I'll say, hey,
did
you wash the dishes?
Right.
Thank you for washing those dishes. But you left food in the sink. I'm like that. I'm sorry. And we gone.
Right.
We're done. And I'm going to tell you, that old Kamisha would have been like, say, bro. I'm going to need you to fix this. This is nasty. Yeah. I do not like it. This is not a clean kitchen. When I say clean kitchen, I mean everything is swept. The cabinets are wiped off. The sink is clean. There is nothing in here. But my husband, that is how he washed them dishes. Thank you for washing them dishes. Okay? Appreciate that. I'm going to go in here and sweep this floor. I'm going to go in here and wipe these cabinets down. I'm going to go in here and get this food out this sink and put it on the other side while I just flip the garbage disposal. So I'm not going to argue with you about that.
Right.
I could, but I'm not.
Right.
I already know it's going to lead to an argument. And it's going to lead to me calling him nasty. And his feelings going to be hurt.
Feelings going to be hurt.
So just do it.
Man.
Just do it.
I love that because, like you said, it's it's the way you present it.
Mm-hmm.
That's everything. The way you present it. If you present it, like you got to watch how you say it.
Yes.
You have to, because you could be saying all the right things to a person, but all they heard was the tone you used.
Amen.
All they saw was the way you was, snapping and moving that neck and snapping them fingers.
Absolutely.
Like, it's the way you present it. If you present it in a way, like, I'm not even just focusing on women to men, men to women as
Absolutely.
well. If you come in a respectful manner, if you come with, your tone in check, that'll help them more than you will know, because they can take, like, if you come at me respectfully, I'm gonna learn from what you just told me, because you just teach me how to do it better, how to do it right the next time.
True.
But if you come at me all, out the way, no, we gotta fix that first.
That part.
And then there go another argument, so like both partners have to work on, it all comes back to communication.
It does.
It really does. Communication is so
It comes back to
key.
effective communication, but you're absolutely right. Because honestly, even my with my current job, you deal with so many people. We do. People with different attitudes, people with different, they act different. They're totally different. Their love languages are different. And when you're dealing with multiple people like that, you have to stay focused. You really have to pay attention to how you talk to people. Because I could say, Anthony, dude, now that ain't right. And then we'll laugh about it and we go about our business.
Right.
But I can say that to somebody else and their feelings are hurt. Yes. And so I tell people this all the time. I am human. I will forget. If I forget, please call me out. But call me out in a loving, nurturing type of way. Because I'm receptive to constructive criticism.
Right.
But what you ain't going to do is come up here and disrespect me.
Exactly.
I don't mind listening to you. I don't mind you telling me or letting me know how you feel about it. But there's a way to do that. Because I don't want to fight in my job.
Exactly.
I want to keep my job.
I want to keep my job.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to respect you. And you're going to respect me. There's ways to say everything that you need to say. You don't have to come all off as being a bully. You don't have to come off as being, I'm always right and you're always wrong. There's a way that you talk to your mate. And if you know your mate and you know what love language your mate is, and if you've been with your mate for a long period of time, you know that your mate can't stand a stern talking to, especially if you're a strong woman. They can't. You got a baby and shook it up for a minute. Now you do it again.
Now
We're going to have some problems. Because listen, brother.
Yeah.
But there's a way to talk to people.
Right.
Always.
And
always.
We really just went full circle, because it's still learn your mate.
Yes.
Pay attention to detail.
Absolutely. And this is why marriage is hard.
Like you said, it really comes down to knowing how far, in a sense, how far you can go with them, because they're receptive to certain things. And for me, it's funny because one of the things my wife says, I'm not going to use all the words that she say, but she says, dudes, sometimes you got to talk crazy to dudes. Man. Some dudes, that's the only way they'll get it. And in some cases, I'm one of them dudes. She has to talk crazy to me for me to get it. It's so funny. But at the same time, she knows me. She's learned me, and she knows how to come to me with different things.
Right.
She's respectful with it. And then, if, like you said, if I don't get it the first time, okay, now I got to talk crazy to you.
Right.
That's the only way you going to get
that part. Because that let me know exactly what level, what playing field I'm on right now. Because if I got to come to you real ignorant black, then that means you don't understand this nice girl. You just go and get it out. I'm going to go ahead and get you good and ready. So, I tell parents this, and this was me with my children. Again, single mom, 3 kids, a daughter, 2 boys. Every 30 days, I had to show out. I had to break a dish. I had to throw stuff because they got so complacent, living in a nasty room, being foolish, carrying on foolishness in school. So every 30 days, when they were cool, calm, and collected and doing all of this, I had to come clown. And then they would be all right for the next 30 days. And then every 30 days, I had to do the same thing. That's the same thing in a marriage. Seriously, sometimes you're going to have to show out. Not hand show out, but I'm going to have to go ahead and beat you up side one way and down the other with this tongue right here because you don't understand what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
But yet and still, there is still a way to do it.
Exactly.
I ain't got to call you out your name.
Exactly. There you go.
To make you understand what I'm trying to say. All I got to do is cut these big eyes over there and be like, hey, man, this ain't what we do.
Man, I swear there's looks that are universal.
That part.
Like, especially like moms and dads to their kids, all it took was a certain look. And sometimes all it takes is a certain look from my wife and for me to know I done messed up or I done said the wrong thing.
Oh, no. My husband, too. I look at him. It's like, what? What I do now? It's like, what did you do?
You tell me.
That part. So, yeah, marriage is hard. It is as hard as you make it, though, honestly. Because sometimes in a marriage, whether you just got married today, yesterday, whatever the case may be, if you are really into this marriage, you guys have to talk. You have got to talk. You have to have communication. You got to compromise. You got to refocus constantly your focus on what it is that you want out of this marriage. Are y'all going to work it out? Or are we going to fuss all day? Are we going to be roommates and we just going to share the bills and the rent? You know what I'm saying? You're going to sleep on one side of the house, I'm going to sleep on the other side of the house. Or are we going to work this marriage out? So marriage is definitely hard, for sure. But it's all about what you want to do with it. Now, I'm not putting up with no mess, for sure. But I'm just saying, marriage is definitely hard.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of communication. There's a lot of churching. There's a lot of Bible reading. There's a lot of Bible studying. There's a lot of it. Because before me and my husband even got married, we call ourselves trying to court. And that's in the old folks' world, that ain't nothing. We would probably go eat or something, and then that was about it. And but one thing we did every night before we hung up that phone, we would read scriptures to each other. Or he would pick a scripture, and then he would tell me what it meant to him. And then I'm like, oh, this, I thought it meant this. We would discuss that. Because honestly, I was so strong about God being the center of our marriage. When we first got married. This is something that we did prior to. We even went to our pastor and wife for like premarital counseling. And sometimes they still got to help a sister and brother out, even to this day. But, you know, I was really focused on that. And that's exactly, and if you are a Christian and you believe in that, that has to definitely be the center of your world, your marriage, because there's no way you're going to make it out here in these streets with all of these things going on if God is not the main center of your focus of your marriage.
100%. 100%. And as she just said, we're saying that marriage is tough, but it's not impossible. It's definitely doable. Right. It's one of those things that, you know, they always say, if it was easy, everybody would have it.
Amen.
You know, this is one of those things that you got to put in effort to have and to keep and maintain and improve. So it's not impossible. It's doable. Plenty of people have done it. Our parents, us, you know, but we don't want to give you that false sense of, you know, it's a fairy tale, that it's easy. Like that all you gotta do is get married and, you know, life is just good.
Don't do it.
That is, it's not the case.
Don't do it.
Before you get married, you need to work on yourself.
Amen.
And figure out what it is that you want. Because if you do that and you have a strong foundation on you, and when it comes to finding a mate, it'll be not necessarily easier, but it'll help you find the right mate. Because if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, you'll go out there and pick the wrong mate.
Amen.
And that's a whole other host of issues with the marriage.
That's a whole month of podcast, okay? We can talk about that for a whole minute. We've all been there. Well, maybe not you, but us over here, we have. We've had the wrong mates, I'm telling you, until we found the right one. But that's a whole month of podcast. Until you find the right one.
Yeah. This episode has been super fun. I want to just say thank you again for coming on and having this talk. I'm
glad. We have our little mini talks at work we used to anyway, but this is fun.
I'm definitely going to have you on again because like you said, we can go into you can go so far, so wide with this one topic. Marriage is, like, that's going to be the topic of this, or the title. Marriage is tough.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it's going to be. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and close it out. Like I said, thank you again for coming on, taking out your time.
You're welcome.
And guys, if y'all made it this far into the episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on, your favorite platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever it is. Just give us a 5-star rating so, the algorithm pushes us up a little higher. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for watching and listening this far, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
So.